People, deluded, I'm back again as usual. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, in some cases, good night. Big up you lot that are on the late night watch with myself. Now, I should be talking about at 12:30 a.m. in the United Kingdom how Arsenal have just, despite having a poor summer, made a signing. I should potentially be ecstatic, in similar vein to when we signed Mesut Ozil. Instead, we've signed no one. Now, we've watched Manchester City, Spurs, even unfortunately, Aston Villa will make signings. Now, I'm not asking for the world. I'm not asking to sign a prime Lionel Messi. I do think we've left ourselves short. And I have a couple of things to say. In life, people, you have to articulate your thoughts. So I thought, let me write it down. The first thing I want to say to everybody who has any sort of decision at this football club where the technical apologies recruitment is concerned, yeah, in your heart, regardless of you sitting there and all the fans will say it's difficult to do business, market opportunity, all of these kind of things that every team faces. Can you look yourselves in the mirror and say you truly tried and you exhausted all of the options available and you did your absolute best on the recruitment front? If you can, fair enough. I'm still vexed same way, but that's one question. What I would say is this market has told us everything we know, just like the summer. We can speak about maximizing markets and et cetera, et cetera. Now, I'm not pointing the finger, but at 2 points last season, as I keep saying, 2 points of the year, apologies. Mikel Arteta said we've got one of the smallest squads. He did an interview with Sky Sports in the build-up to obviously Arsenal, Manchester City, and he said we came into the season competing in four competitions, with four competitions with 19 players, and we've had 3-4 long-term injuries. Now, for all the talk about maximizing the market and then all of that stuff, we all know the summer. We all know we did not bring in the quality we needed. We didn't maximize any market or look after the depth of the squad, and we're playing for those things. Yeah, you can talk about red cards and injuries and all these things. Of course, people, we didn't predict that, or we wouldn't be in this situation. But again, these are the same harsh lessons we have to keep learning as a football club. Now, when the summer obviously finished, we know the January transfer window is a different entity in itself, right? But you still left that window knowing what you needed to do. Hasn't been done. Little bid for Ollie Watkins. Indirect paper talk with Cunha and Vlahovic and Sesko and Isaac and this one. Indirectly sprinkled what we're going to do in the summer, like Zubamendi and all of these kind of things, people. Left yourself short. And what this tells me is those above Mikel Arteta, what this tells me is what you lot already should know. Unfortunately, you lot, of course, self-sufficient, all of that stuff you want to do in your image. I've got no issue with that. But you're telling me that it's really just a top four thing. It's really just a top four thing. We're on course to finish second. At best, one of the top three positions in the Premier League, which we obviously hope is the first position. It's a Champions League thing. Champions League looks on course. Let's just say our season was demolished to the point where we're just looking potentially at fighting for fourth place. Yeah, like let's just say we're fifth, sixth, we're 10 points off. Yeah, whether these players that would have, from what I'm about to say, would have been good enough or not. Yeah, I promise you, if we was trying to just fight for top four, they would have signed players. As soon as we got in the Champions League, there's enough to get optimistic about, and simply put, there's enough to think what if really and truly. And then when you've got this weird mixture in that, I could sit here and talk about the Cronkies all day. I think being very consistent in everything I've said. But flip it. If they were to sit here and tell me Arteta's wanted new goalies, we've backed that. New left backs, we've backed that. Centre mids, we've backed that. Shattered the club record as well. We've done all of these things. As much as I have energy for them and the merchandise, and we know what we are, and there was clearly a remit to get back to that self-sufficient kind of model. The Cronkies took full ownership of this football club in 2018. I think the first time we posted a profit is 17-18 or something. So there's a correlation with that. So so you're telling me basically it's just a top four thing. Like you're really just saying it's just a top four thing. But as I was saying, if they were to sit here and say, we've backed all of these things with Mikel Arteta, shattered the club transfer record, I'd have to say fair enough. And then I look at Arteta. It's like getting pocket. It's like if the Cronkies were the dad, yeah, and you took your kid to, I don't know, Sainsbury's or a supermarket, and Arteta's the kid, and he's given, I don't know, 100 quid, yeah, and he's saying buy stuff. Now he's got £100 to spend. You could spend that and flunk it all on sweets. You could make sure you got, breakfast and all sorts of, stuff you need for your house. Mikel Arteta, you've done well on the transfer front and others, but you've also left yourself short, people. We haven't looked after the basics. I would say it's risk averse. It's risk averse. I guess it's great from a business point of view. It's terrible on the sporting front, if I'm completely honest, man. As I said, if we were falling behind in the top four race, there would have been signings. Of course, we all know the scattergun approach, the gun hole approach, all of that stuff in the transfer market is not advisable. I'm not asking the football club to do that, people, but neither does playing it safe. Playing it safe does not guarantee all of these signings are going to work, because you hear the same language and rhetoric. We want to be sure, we want to be this, and I hear all of that. But if doing all of that meant that every signing you make banks, then we're arguably not talking about strikers and all of these things we need. We don't have Nuno Tavares and these guys on the book, so it's risk averse. Of course, it's easy for me to sit here and say that, but you didn't exactly try. Half-assed bid on a Monday, trying to take advantage of Aston Villa needing to sell players for PSR. Yeah, really, it weren't a storyline thing. We was trying to go for Ollie Watkins. Remember when we was on Douglas Luiz and before the game, the sky cameras are panned on him and all of that stuff. It weren't a that thing. We don't know that you bidded for Cunha or Sesko. It makes logic if you try to accelerate the summer targets. And as much as people try and be simple and say, if just activate the release clause, and if they really want to sign for Arsenal, they would. Football is as simple as that, and I hear that, and that makes sense. But at the same time, it's not. These players are in their situations at their club. Naturally, they want to assess all their options. You got to remember the family aspect. So the Seskos, the Gyökeres, Isaac's a myth on the best of days, but throw him into that. The Cunhas, which his agent played a blinder and got himself a new deal. Maybe I argue when we found out Cunha was going to sign that new deal, and when it's actually confirmed, are obviously two different things. But maybe devil's advocate, they were listening. Him and his advisors were listening. Are Arsenal going to get involved? Arsenal, Aston Villa, Newcastle, all these teams were linked with him. We didn't do it. As I said, from a business point of view, for me, it's risk averse, man. It's great from a business point of view what they're doing and the self-sustaining crap, people, but it's terrible on the sporting front. Because if we, aggressive pursuit for Ollie Watkins and all that, I would still say these same things, but then I can say, all right, cool, you lot are trying to win. It's terrible on the sporting front, man. It really is. And let's be honest, people, yeah, I do think, a lot is made of us in the final third. And listen, I always try and provide balance, but 91 goals, all them positive attacking statistics, which I like, take that and make it better. But let's be brutally honest. It's not just, obviously the injuries have exaggerated what we're talking about with attackers, but in your heart, our front three is not good enough. Saka, bad boy. Kai Havertz, we're not doing the scapegoating thing. But in terms of being a starter, let's just cut the crap now. You need a gunman number 9. Big up Kai. I'm not saying he has to get alienated. Left wing, Trossard and Martinelli's performances, I feel, against City. Obviously, they didn't score and they didn't do the Raya save. It's going to kind of get lost. But they played well. But the numbers are not there. There's too many unanswered questions if you want to win a Premier League title. If you want to keep being second and just in the mix, and if Mikel Arteta is able to get over the line, because that's what it's down to. For all his faults or praise, and you think Arteta is the guy or not, yeah, and he spent money and done good things, and it is a mixed bag. It's down to him to get over the line. It's a bit like, obviously, I'm not comparing Arteta to Klopp. That's for another debate. But, it's a Klopp thing at Liverpool. There might be money every now and again for you to do a bad boy stuff, but they give you your budget. You do what you need to do. And then that's why I have to criticize Mikel Arteta on a sporting project. I love that there's certain aspects that I love what Arteta is doing. But to get over the line across every aspect of this football club, we're selling ourselves short. The players, obviously the recruitment, it's to get over that line. There needs to be a lot more. And what I would say is, I don't think the club would be pressured, yeah. But obviously, you could kind of rethink about the thing I said about, if we was fighting for top 4, would we have got it, right? If we lost to City, yeah, there'd be a lot more of him. And listen, it don't matter what you want to say on social media and do all of that kind of stuff, yeah. If we lost 5-1 to City, bearing in mind it's the deadline and there's no signings, we all know how it would have went. So the owners of this football club are the luckiest, really, because there's going to be no pressure. But at the same time, whether I'm happy or not now, people, it is what it is. Clearly, I want signings. A lot of what I said in the summer, I'm saying now. Now, I was naturally pessimistic on January for reasons you lot obviously know, but it's a top 4 thing. If you can win a trophy, that's your business. But there's no direct ethos of us truly wanting to be winners on a sporting front. If not, we'd be doing better. So these fine margins will keep going against us. We're betting on the young Ethan, which great footballer. If you're trying to win the league title, it's harsh on the lad. We're betting on Trossard and Martinelli. It is what it is at this point. Kai Havertz, again, it is what it is with Kai Havertz. Again, I think he's pulled his weight a lot more than a lot of his attacking colleagues. I actually feel he's one of our more reliable players, but in the grand scheme of things, in the most respectful way to Kai Havertz, if I'm saying that about a team that wants to win a league, then I have to adjust expectations, because it's very nice and naive, and it feels like internally at this football club, they just feel everything is going to be like, success is going to be linear. We're going to have no injuries. Man in form are going to get better. I don't think Arteta thinks that, actually, because I think there's faults on Arteta, but I don't think he thinks that. But I'm talking about those above it. We're just hoping to do that. It is where it is, man. It is what it is. At the end of the day, was on a sporting front, I don't think we win anything, but we're second. Got a League Cup semi-final deficit to overturn. Let's hope the Dubai trip is good. Let's hope that coming. Well, not really coming from behind, but going down to 10 men against Wolves and, this unexpected battering of City, do a thing in it, like momentum, all of them buzzwords. But, boy, just have to hope Saka's back in March, in it, really, or whatever. And even that, you're going to have to we're all going to pin our hopes on Saka. He's come back from a long-term injury. It's not making sense. So from a sporting point of view, just purely winning the league title, it's not making sense. So you lot are cool with the top 4 tick. And I don't think Arteta's cool with the top 4 thing. It's just mainly the fine margins and how you've budgeted and what you've done. That's your sin. Those above him. And at the end of the day, it comes from above. And I mean, bro, even that, a club that's serious in that regards, bro, I don't want to even be that naive fan who's going to say that naive thing, but there's been no sporting director. Can we really be surprised? It's been a mess beyond the obvious. We all knew we weren't signing nothing. But can we really be surprised? Now, when we go through the articles and that, not just now, but later on, we know what's going to happen. We're going to do the mad thing in summer. Nico Williams, Sesko, this one, that one. It's a merry-go-round, man. It's a merry-go-round, man. As I said, I think the Cronkies are to blame for the ethos of this football club and the missed opportunities. But at the end of the day, I can't sit here and say Mikel Arteta's hindsight's a wonderful thing. Spent the money and built the squad in the best possible way. In this, only over what I mean by that is getting over the line. Because in terms of being top 4, he done that, but getting over the line, boy. And there's internally, there's clearly a remit at this football club to kind of just make a profit, if I'm honest with you. And what I would say, in Mikel Arteta's defense, well, not even defense, because you're part of this. There's no excuses. You're part of this. But in your defense, as I said, it's like, go back to that example I said about, if Mikel Arteta is the kid, Cronkies are the parents. They've given him 100 quid or something. You're in the supermarket. You can buy what you want. If you want to spend that all on sweets, you do that. If you want to get some healthy stuff and make sure you can get sandwiches, you do that. Because there's been sometimes he's not done that. And I hear it, Mikel Arteta. You've got a sweet tooth for players like Havertz, the unicorn kind of footballers that can play everywhere. But sometimes you just got to buy milk and bread. And what I mean by that is just an old school number 9. And in terms of that striker's going to score goals, that left wing is going to be a 1v1 demon. But not even in your defense. I think you realize you've messed up in your own regards and you've gone, you know what, things go wrong, His language has become quite specific, if I'm honest. And even in the aftermath of the City game, I think we've been very clear from every angle what we want to do. The other one is the reality, and what you're able to do is always possible. I think that means isn't. They meant to say isn't. But that tells me, I asked for more, cryptically, I asked for more peas. I kind of messed up. And even back to the summer was a mess. The summer was a mess. Because again, I can blame Cronkies, but they've said, you lot got second twice. I trust that you lot know what you're doing. Tim Lewis is here. Garlic's here. Close the door. I'm in America. Shout me. Here's your peas. Boy, flapped around for goalies. Raheem Sterling. You know how Arsenal fans are. We'll call Raheem Sterling. He's a yard man. We worked with Mikel Arteta, etc. Dead. He's dead. We need to bring in a winger or a striker. They're getting the numbers. They're a cold-hearted killer. So we just have to hope everything works out. We've been here before, right? Havertz misses sitters every game. You can't win the league with a striker who can't handle the pressure. And it's even unfair to Kai, because I think Kai's decent. We're at with him in the squad. I wouldn't have bought Kai in the first place. But for what I've seen, you can play. I would obviously, if it was in an ideal world, you wouldn't be here, but you can be part of the squad. You can be part of the squad. You can't be my starter. You can be part of the squad. You show me you're kind of with it. Well, it's too much fantasy. And again, if you've watched The Mighty Ducks, if you've watched Coach Carter, watch them films. Unfortunately, that's us. Cool runnings. It's good. It's commendable. It's not even underdog. But in the end, you do kind of make some sort of waves. But in the end, it's not that. Could have been worse. At least we didn't sign Rashford. We're the world-class players. 2 years of Champions League and still none. But even if Ethan is I can't say that word internally at the club, we still need signings. You know how clubs like West Ham are satisfied being mid-table. Same with Arsenal, satisfied with fourth. Smash the like button, people. I thought you lot be asleep. Well, I mean, they rejected offers. I mean, they said they allegedly rejected offers on Cabra and Butler or Deji. I don't know if it's on loan or permanent, but that tells me, you know what? It's probably best that you lot go and play senior football, but we need bodies here in case. Because we're not all assuming, but we have to assume from this point, if you want, that everyone's going to stay fit. We have to thank the Lord really within this now that after the game against Newcastle on Wednesday, we've got like a 10 days rest. These lot need to go to Dubai and do the bad thing, really. So is what it is. Big up everyone. Time to question the owners, board, interim sporting director. They're all to blame. And again, I'm not making no excuses for Arteta. I've clearly just criticized him, but reality is he's not the most experienced manager. Yeah, there's no sporting director here. There's no ethos. What's going on? Pardon me. Hope we all have wrong feelings about that. We didn't get a striker this window. Saka in March, in my opinion, we need to let him, I think you mean be out as long as possible. Same. But we're already starting to get briefed. They're saying Saka's back by March. Benjamin White this, some of that. We've been here, Arsenal fans, man. We've been here. Big up American Gooner. It all lies on Arteta. I can't sit here and blame the Cronkies as to why we didn't win the league last year and to why we're here. And that's the best and worst thing, because at the end of the day, Arteta, whatever you've done, you've got a second at this moment in time. On paper, we actually don't. The sentiment around our club internally is quite negative, but in terms of stats, it's not. But at the same time, you tell me about trophies and prems. Are you doing it in the right way? I think there's a couple of questions that should be answered by now. And as a club, it's the same old, same old. At least it was quiet. At least they didn't tease us with William rumours. He's actually gone back to Fulham. Fam, I'm confused. How could there not be any urgency, though? Because if there's an injury to Havertz, then what? And again, Havertz has looked leggy. He's been injured. He's looked like he might be injured. We all saw he looked knackered against Wolves. I don't know what to tell you, lot. It's Pete. No signing. So many things have to go right for people to think we are capable of winning the league from here. Bro, at the end of the season, we might need a whole new squad. These men are going to be smashed. I wouldn't say a whole new squad, but we definitely need additions. Big up, Fran. Fuming. I hear you, but on the other hand, should we really be fuming? Because as Arsenal fans, knowing what we know, it was blind optimism today to think rabbit out the hat. Don't lie, he was desperate, people, and who thought there might be a Raheem Sterling there still. But yeah, man, it's absolutely peak. And then for me, where I start to fume and get frustrated is, even though I know this is going to happen, it's the articles and all of that kind of stuff, because they control the narrative, man. Like Football Mirror Society. And speaking, we're family Arsenal fans, even the ones that have crazy opinions that we don't agree with. People start lapping this shit up. Like this, you read it enough times, you say it enough times. Mind games. And this was annoying, Sam Dean, I'm not criticizing the journalist actually, but just to, let you lot know, Arsenal could not sign the players they really wanted this month, and they were unwilling to invest in a player they felt would not improve the squad. It sounds good. In isolation, that makes sense. But with these contexts, listen, at the end of the day, life goes wrong. You make mistakes. We effed up the summer. It's peak with the injuries. Because I can forgive mistakes. Make something happen. There's really not a player out there. Because even that Napan, he's obviously said he's staying over in Norway. But he's played, 60 games? Playing with the greatest of respect, playing for Rosenborg in the Norwegian division. I don't know, to be fair to the club, I don't know if they actually signed him, if he would have stayed there to the end of the season. There might have been plans to loan him out. I think he would have been a body in the first team. So if that is what I assume, then you have to wonder, he brings something to the squad. So if you can bring man or flirt with man, which David Ornstein kept throwing his name, if you can flirt with man, pause, from the Norwegian league, what? Come on, man. Because there's ballers everywhere. Come on, man. We went to Brazil and brought back Marquinhos. That in itself is saying we're not serious. But anyways, they worried that buying the wrong man now would prevent them from buying the right man in the summer. The other financial concern was that Gabriel Jesus will miss around the year, now cannot be sold in the summer. His high wages mean that Arsenal already committing significant resources on two strikers, even though only one is available to play. That sounds great. But let's cast our minds back to the summer, where we were linked with Sesko. where apparently we told Sesko you're not going to play instead of Kai Havertz. I'm not even. That's not even what I'm even getting into. The logic don't make sense. Fair enough, he's been injured and he cannot be sold, but there's no guarantee he would have been sold. And even in relation to, for me, it's the two striker thing. If Sesko said, yeah, you know what, just for argument's sake, I don't mind being back up. I don't mind being back up to Havertz. You still have these two strikers free with Jesus. What are we talking about? You bidded for Watkins. Like you bidded it might have been cheeky and all of that, but you bidded for Watkins on Monday. So what is this? You bidded for him. If you signed Watkins, you've got obviously Watkins' wages probably ain't going to break the bank, but he's going to be on something healthy. England international, Premier League star, 3 years on his contract at Villa. Naturally, I know it's his dream to play for Arsenal and all of that jazz, and he is 29, and there's going to have to be a lot of bartering. But at the end of the day, you're not going to go from Aston Villa to Arsenal and not make more bread. What are we talking about? And this is what I mean. If you say this enough, that you see, if you're not a critical thinker in life, I'm not even saying I'm right. I always say on my channel, I don't tell you what to think, just think. This makes sense. I knew people listened to stuff when we went out of the FA Cup last season to Liverpool, and people were saying, "Oh, at least we get a rest now." What kind of nonsense? We're forgetting the essence of sport. We're getting in this trap of it's always building and building for tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow, and that's great. What about today? Mind games, mind games, mind games. Because even if we go to the summer and we heard Nico Williams as well. Say Nico Williams, let's just say Nico Williams and Sesko said they're on joining us. Nico didn't give a monkeys about Barcelona or staying at Bilbao. Havertz, cool to be in the mix with Sesko, cool to be in the mix with Havertz. Calm. What are we talking about? You still would have had Jesus, and there's still no guarantees he's leaving. What if he said, "No, I want to fight for my spot"? Come on now. This don't make sense. It's almost insulting my intelligence because this controls the narrative. Arsenal could not sign players that already said that. I'm just making myself more angry. And again, I'm not getting at the journalists here, but again, it's not making sense. The ideal outcome for Arsenal would have been to bring such a move for one of their long-term targets, a player such as Leipzig striker Benjamin Sesko or athletic Bilbao winger Nico Williams. But it became clear that such deals would not be possible midway through the season. Bro, remove the midway through the season thing, and that sounds like you said it in the summer. One player they thought might be available was Aston Villa's Ollie Watkins. Arsenal were alerted to the possibility of Watkins leaving earlier in the window. How early? When did you find out? Because maybe they would have. I don't think they, for what it's worth, I just looking at Aston Villa, right? Because you can make the logic of Duran's younger, long term, all of that. But for and it's come out now, Villa had to sell 1-2 players. But if you just look at it statistically, Duran's form is probably better, but Watkins has been starting. That's Emery's guy. But if you was alerted to him early in the window, what's going on? This sounds great. We're looking active. We're looking proactive. It sounds, in isolation, it is great. But when you apply context of where we face ourselves, this is nonsense, people. But it's a cycle, man. Critical thinking is not widespread in society, man. Arsenal were alerted to the possibility of Watkins earlier in the window and made an approach in the region of 45 million. For a 29-year-old odd striker, it would have been a considerable investment. Fair enough. Whether I agree that you're bidding for no reason, in principle, 45 million for a 29-year-old, I do agree with that. The financial framework of a potential deal was to change, though. We know Duran went. So that tells me we got little whispers that Watkins might be on joining us. Got little whispers that Duran's on the move. That couple clubs are flirting. Somebody tried to be smart. Maybe Jason Ito trying to go from being a summer intern, pick him up, though, to the main guy. He thought, you know what if we beat them to the punch? 29-year-old Ollie Watkins, 45 million, whack, quickly. Duran starting. Emery can do whatever he wants. I don't know. They were never selling both strikers. It is relevant too that Arsenal have already planned ahead to the summer. That's true. But again, I'd imagine when and shift happens in life. But I imagine in the summer, you lot sat there and you said, Nico Williams, Sesko, we're going to go again. If this Ollie Watkins thing happened and you're talking about Zubimendi, you would have had to factor this in anyways. Hindsight, this sounds mad. Anyways, people, Arsenal have already planned ahead in the summer with a deal in the works for Sociedad midfielder Martin Zubimendi. They had to be careful not to jeopardize that move financially, which is expected to cost in the region of 50 million and is regarded as necessary given the likely departures of Jorginho and Partey. This sounds great, but you bidded for, man. You're better off for it to make sense with me. I'd still be frustrated, but you're better off telling me you was considering the bid. The bid never went through. And we'll never get the truth, I guess, unless Ornstein something with Matthias Tell. And obviously Spurs have now got him now, and I've got to eat some humble pie because I was chatting shit, doing shorts. It is what it is. Stay humble. I should have learned from Haaland. It's not making sense, man. Even that, you've pivoted to a striker in this window where you know it's peak. Anyways, man, as pressing as the need for a new forward might be now, it's still not as pressing as the need for a new defensive midfielder. Is likely to be in the summer. They both of equal needs. Let's stop doing the either or. The interest in Zubimendi dates back months, and Arsenal could not rip up all their long-term plans because of their immediate needs in the moment. We've gone over the Jesus thing, but again, you're saying the same things. It all meant that Arsenal were effectively searching for short-term loan deals. Mazzolini. Oh, their only option was to look abroad, though, as they already have two Premier League loanees in their squad. We know who they are. There's thought to have been a conversation regarding Bayern Munich striker Tell, but without any concrete interest being shown. I'm not trying to listen. I ain't trying to rate Spurs at all. I'm not trying to trade places with them. By the end of the day, yeah, he's rejected them. They've bidded 40, 50, 60 million. He's rejected them. We found out Postecoglou and Levy have had a shout with him. There's now a buy option. He's there. Like, Spurs got their own stuff, and I definitely wouldn't trade places with them, but they've made something happen. Villa made something happen. Teams at City, obviously dynamics are different. City can't stop spending money. I actually don't know, but I'd imagine City are definitely the biggest spenders in this window. And you look at half of their players, you know, the Nico Gonzalez youth from Porto looks good. But it's more like, and again, we're not the same, but it's more like future squad planning, or well, they need it now. Like, none of them are really, like, Marmoush is good in that. He's good, but none of them at the immediate point of entry are like, rah, these lot are stars. Anywho, people, all the talk around Havertz's finishing here, still scored 15 goals in 33 appearances, which tells you Havertz is nearly not as bad as people make out, but he's still not the difference maker. We can hide behind, and I'm not getting at Havertz, we can hide behind these stats, behind the 91 goals. That is great. That tells us that we can, you know, there's a lot of positives that can help us. Part that off on the side, you still need a striker. Stop. Don't do the stats thing. Take the stats, but don't let your eyes lie to you. Come on, man, because we're going to keep saying the same things. You can tell me this as much as you want, and I'm not even getting at Havertz because he's not putting himself in that spot. West Ham away last season, Liverpool in the FA Cup, slightly different. Bayern Munich, where someone just needs to put the ball in the back of the net. We beat City, and it's all fun and games, but we all know moments change games, and it's a case of what if City really switched on, you know, when they scored the equalizer before Partey? What if Raya doesn't pop off that great save? What if there was serious ramifications of Kai Havertz missing that first chance? Football, the club talk about fine margins. These are fine margins. And again, I'm not trying to be harsh. I'm purely looking over the guise of rebuild, top four, many aspects which are some of the best in the league. That's great. Winning the trophy now, something to cement this. But we beat City 5-1, you know. We need to be winning leagues, because right now it's going to look good when we're watching the goals and all of that kind of stuff. And shout out to our young players who announced themselves and are rattling the internet. But end of the day, 2 windows now. And again, I'm not getting out Arteta, but every now and again, for all of Arteta's F-ups, I do think he kind of dry snitches on the cronkies. People talk about maximizing markets. We've dropped the ball in the summer, and we all know the January is difficult in that, but we dropped the ball twice now. Even in 2023, which was probably one of the summers we thought, yeah, it's all right. Didn't do everything. To be fair, you could look at when Zinchenko and Jesus came in purely for those 2 signings. So it's mad, man. David Ornstein on Ollie Watkins said, Aston Villa gave Arsenal the opportunity to do this deal or have a conversation on the basis of 60 million, possibly. That was something clearly Arsenal were not prepared to do at that value. They decided to suggest around the 40 million mark. I got no issues with that. Villa were being serious when they suggested 60 million. Yeah, they're trying to bump us, but like, do you just want to soldier it and pay it? F it, it is what it is. It's like using a cash point that's telling you it's like £1.75 to get money out. Like, do you just soldier it? I don't, but they could. That's when they would have been prepared to have a conversation. We don't know if it would have led to an offer being accepted, but the door was clearly opened at that level. So it's a take it or leave it thing, like in January. For somebody that's gone on record to say he's an Arsenal supporter and it would have been his dream move, perhaps Watkins would have pushed for it if it came close, but it didn't come close. There was no attempt by Arsenal to go again. That tells you everything. That's like applying for one job. Like, you know, you need a job, you apply for one job, you don't get it, and you just give up. What's going on? Fair enough, man. And again, unfortunately, Spurs have confirmed the signing, people. I have to hate on this guy. He absolutely snakes me. Big up my guy, Tariq Talks. I think he summed it up well. He said, I understand the club's desire not to panic, but they need to understand the frustration from us fans. Even in our best summer transfer window, 2023, we left ourselves 1 short in attack. 3 transfer windows later, we are now short by 2. Boy, John Cross said earlier in today, as far as I know, I think it's Tell. Bro, I don't hear about Tell, bro. I don't want to hear about a lot of these things. I really don't. Like, it is what it is at this moment in time. Like, it's peak now. Apparently, we remain confident over Zubamendi for the summer. And apparently, if we go for Isaac, people, Newcastle want to go for Justin Kluivert. And we've actually indirectly been linked with Justin Kluivert. But I really don't care about the summer at this moment in time. Do what you need to do. Get that sorted. But right now, we're in February, man. Big up DG, no signings, little hopes for the legal champs. Just have to hope the footballing gods reign supreme on us, man. The same old problems during Wenger is happening now. The board is the primary problem, and like Wenger, Arteta is their shield. Facts. This owner isn't safe from criticism too. I'm not going to cry if he goes too. He's had chances, but the Cronkies are the ones who decided to make him the second highest paid manager and not invest. The owners are not going, man. They don't even care about the league at all. Only numbers on the balance sheet at the end of the year. They've always been the problem. Summer window needs to be big. We've got the upper hand financially now. I hope, man. I hope so, man. I have no doubt we're going to make signings in the summer, but I don't know if I can confidently say, will I still be saying the same things around depth? Will I still be saying the same things about a wide man and a striker and in midfield? Are we going to deal with all the issues? I don't know. Or at least the majority. You have to ask yourself, do the board want a league title or are they content with top four? They're content with top four. They wouldn't mind the league. They wouldn't mind the league because even if Arteta has messed up, they've not said, yo, it's peas, Watkins, just do it. Just do it. It happens. Just do it. You haven't given us any sort of, there's optimism from beating City and you hope that that's giving them some confidence to turn it around on Wednesday and there's a rest where we're going to Dubai, but there's no boost to the squad. We all love Ethan, very talented young player. But you're asking to win a league with a 17-year-old who's just come into the first team. You're asking Kai Havertz to lead the line. You're asking Martinelli and Trossard. And I don't think these guys are bad players. I'm not trying to be critical. No one would be more happier than me. We'd all be happy. It sounds great. It makes for a great movie, underdog thing. But you see, life is harsh. And it's going to make you learn the same lessons again and again until you take heed, man. So it is what it is, man. We hope for the best. We win, we're happy. We lose, we're upset. We're at where we're at, man. We're at where we're at, folks. We're at summer war chest. Don't worry. Respect to DG and the rest of the Gooner. Spot on as always, DG. One thing Arteta is forgetting is also the suspension that's going to happen again. And we're acting like you're bang on the money, and we're all assuming there's no other injuries. Like, we're all assuming, unless there's some crazy free agent out there. This is actually what we've got. So Arteta's either going to have to use some more Haylenders in some capacity, pray there's no injuries, hope that somebody's back sooner rather than later. Boy, he said we had one of the smallest squads in the summer. Like, that was his interview on Sky Sports. We don't have 19 players. And it's been a weird kind of season in that, Ethan and lewis-skelly ain't come out of nowhere, but they've come out of nowhere. Tierney obviously got injured. He's in the squad indirectly at this moment in time. Boy, this is like self-neglect. You know what you need to improve, but the club just Ray Charles in it. Stevie Wonder issues, act like they don't see the issues. I'm not surprised. I'm not disappointed, but I am, man. I really thought we'd do a cheeky move for Jonathan David. The club, not 100% sure, not sure he improves the squad, this, that, and the other. They're not looking. Maybe I'm naive, yeah. Maybe I think a different way, but even that, you see, when the club talk about market opportunities, yeah, because again, we're trying to be self-sufficient. Jonathan David's a market opportunity. Again, I don't know about wages and all of those fine intricacies, but he's in his early to mid-20s. He's somewhat a proven goal scorer. You can get him on a free transfer. He comes in, he does a job, fair enough. If he doesn't, he hits the loan circuit and there might be a profit there. Come on, DG, man, you've been doing this long enough to know the articles at Mind Games. Yeah, but some people don't, man. Can't get annoyed by it. It's the same shit every window. Absolute shambles club. If no Isaac in the summer, then Arteta can pack his bags. Well, again, I want to be wrong. Isaac, you're talking 100 odd million quid. And again, the way we're going to pattern up the terms, Newcastle would have to agree with it. And that's one signing. That's before talking about what we're doing around Partey, how we maneuver financially around Jesus. Because, again, in isolation, that whole thing they said about two strikers and Jesus injured, that's still going to apply in the summer. Who knows, man? We're not going to do them things. No one was coming, PR stunt. How do people get suckered in? Pause. I don't know, man. To be fair, I expected it. It's Groundhog Day with this club. I said it before the window. We ain't signing no one. It's always deja vu. I mean, I agree with you, lot. I definitely agree with you, lot, yeah, but I can't act holier than thou. I did think surely. I thought it would be, I don't know who. Happy it's not Rashford, even though, boy, we ain't got no one. I thought there'd at least be a Raheem Sterling type deal. Because I mean, even if you just care about top four, come on, your poster boy Saka's injured. Jesus busts his ACL again. Ethan's had a knock. Kai Havertz, who's probably one of the more durable players, has looked a bit at times. Come on, like, come on. Even if you're not sure, and like, even that, again, I'm not going to be no hypocrite. I don't know what kind of loans from abroad could have happened. But did we really exhaust that foreign market? I don't know. Because the only concrete rumors we've really heard this month, when you actually sit there and break it down, is this Ubermendy thing where it felt like Romano, Sammy Motbell, David Ornstein all dropped it at the same time. We've officially placed a bid for Watkins. It's really just paper talk with Cunha. Tutu flirting with Tell. That's about it. How is it in our youth? No strikers where we could call up and have on the bench and make the difference other than Skelly and Nwamwere. We love these players, but we do have to have more. The Kion Edwards, all it, bro. Whoever is in that Haaland under 21 side, Arteta's going to have to see what they're about in training. It's BS. If Sesko is your number one choice, pay the money. There's always a premium to pay. If you try to sign a first team player in Jan, you tell Cronkies we need a striker now instead of the summer. And I'm looking hypotheticals, yeah. But I can understand, the Sesko thing in the summer. But let's just say you got him in Jan and, you probably have to pay 10, 15, 20 million more. Apparently, there's now in his contract, there's a gentleman's agreement. There's not a release clause. I might have read that wrong, but if it is a gentleman's agreement, if Arsenal, Chelsea, all of these clubs that were linked with him in the summer all go in for it again, then naturally that's going to drive up the bidding. Leipzig, obviously, where the player wants to go plays a massive part, and you've heard we've done the groundwork. But if you're Leipzig, you've developed and you're making your profit. Of course, you care about the player, but from a business point of view, no one cares. If you go to Chelsea and flop, United flop, Arsenal flop, doesn't matter. Who's paying the most P's? Go take him. So you still might have to end up paying that anyways. And even that from it, on one hand, I think, come on, bro, Sesko, respectfully to Leipzig, come on, bro. Like, if Arsenal really has been doing the flirting with you, if you couldn't see in the summer that you'd play ahead of Kai Havertz, you probably do now because we ain't got no bodies. Make it happen. But then on the other hand, when I look at it kind of logic or a bit more of a logical sort of thing, you might be in a little good rhythm at your current employers. You know that, you're going to get interest in the summer. You might be keen as joining on Arsenal, but there might be other clubs. You might not necessarily want to leave right now. Bearing in mind, you have to uproot, you have to get houses and stay in hotels. And I don't know if he's got a wife and kids. You've got to do what you're doing with that. It's her madness. Now, other clubs have done it regardless. Duran's packed up and gone to Dubai, but it's very reactive. It's very passive, man. It's not, I don't really get the vibe that you tried your hardest, man. Can't be surprised. I know that's sarcasm. I guess some of our left backs will have to play on the wings at times and Big Gabby up front if Kai gets injured. Boy, Tierney, just watch Gareth Bale vids, innit? Just watch Gareth Bale vids, man. Arteta won't do anything to compromise Havertz. Imagine we ain't signing nobody if Sesko doesn't come. Get these out here. Phase 5 and Sesko is the be all and end all. Boy, I'm happy with Calafiori, man, to be fair, but like, being devil's advocate, not seeing what we see it now. Did you have to if Lewis-Skelly was there? Now, of course, I'm being a bit of a devil's advocate, but you get the point. Did you have to buy Merino? I know you're going after established stars, and clearly we've bought more Premier League players, but man, I'm doing scouting. Like, if you can find out Olsen you in Norway, and you might have brought him in January, you must can find a winger. I don't really care if they're from Africa, Brazil, Ireland, England, wherever in this world. Really, we haven't got some scouting reports on some players that are in lesser leagues and might come cheaper, whether they're good enough or not. Really. And I'm not saying these would have been difference makers, but really, you couldn't get a body in. Really exhausted all of your options in this January market. You couldn't work within any remit. Really? Okay. Fair enough, man. And Ketia, Balogun, and Bereth were all let go. I'm not saying any of them would have definitely been the long-term answers, but we need to let go of players in certain positions with no replacements. And, Mika Bereth scored another hat-trick for Monaco. Trossard is the last forward we signed. Yeah, he is. Surely he is. When the dog merch dropping, don't worry, people. Zubimendi was his first choice and he settled for Merino, just like how Raya was his first choice, but he settled for Ramsdale. And all now how that turned out, Arteta's also wasted money. To be fair with you, though, you do have to pivot. I will say that I hear you, but you do have to pivot. I'll be fair. It looked like Raya weren't attainable. You did have to go and get Ramsdale. You do have to pivot. That's how life works. That's how the market works. But at the same time, again, not necessarily doing what we need to do. Arteta era slowly turning into Wenger era. Maybe the austerity Emirates era minus the good football, but boy, respectfully to Mikel Arteta, you're not in the same hemisphere as Arsene Wenger. He revolutionized England. He won us Premier League trophies. He, even when we was robbed, there was a point only Barcelona could talk to us. There's some good aspects of what you're doing, but boy, you can't be in the same realm. I get what you mean though, and we can't do the. I'm not again. I on this channel I'm not advocating scapegoating and effing and blinding. We look at the whole thing. If you draw that it's more Arteta's fault, it's more Kroenke's fault. That's the beautiful thing of discussions, right? But let's not act like this is a kumbaya thing, and people are holding Mikel Arteta hostage. This is a relationship of convenience. You know what you're getting out of this relationship being Arsenal manager. Like the ethos around the company. You know what you're working with. So I'm not saying you won't, the Kroenkes don't need to help you, but are you maximizing what you need to maximize? Is anyone? Big up Shady. I blame the Tell one on Teta. It was a risk-free low move with no obligation to buy. Ornstein said Teta didn't want Tell because he didn't want bodies for the sake of bodies. If he genuinely said that, I mean, I'm just on YouTube. Mikel Arteta is a Premier League referee, Premier League manager, but boy, Tell. I hope he fails, of course. I don't always fail on anyone, but he's playing for Spurs, so I hope he flop. But do I really think Tell couldn't have added something to this squad? I disagree. I mean, let's be honest. We were never properly in for a player. All these sources everyone seems to trust is clearly on the payroll and don't actually know the ins and outs of what's happening at the club. I just think we need to pivot, man, because I do think Arteta gets his one guy, and that's the one guy he wants. And in isolation, I hear that, but sometimes you have to pivot. You have to. Which you had to do with Trossard. Yeah, with Trossard. You wanted Mudryk, and I don't know if that would have worked and his luck would have looked a lot differently at Arsenal versus how it looks at Chelsea. I don't know if that would have been a dud. But yeah. Funny thing is that Watkins was offered to us, but we lowballed them. People don't realize how it works. Arteta will say sign. It's to board and Aaron about the price, which I do agree with that element. That's even unfair on their young shoulders. It is. No one can sit there and be blaming Ethan and lewis-skelly if this goes tits up. Calafiori is displaced by an 18-year-old. He's not all we thought he was. He's a squad player at best, not going to lie. He's 22, man. Calafiori come good, but yeah, I can't deny that, innit? Lewis-Skelly's a better fit. There's question marks for a £40 million Italian international. He played at Euros. But it is a squad game. I don't know about Marcus Rashford, man. The illusion of Marcus Rashford. I mean, in terms of a body, yeah, why not? But that I sympathize, innit? Because I do think people would have said Rashford, at least you got a body, but then would say it's a lack of ambition. Arteta is just learning the job, I think, because you can't rely on Kai, who takes longer to score a goal. I hear that, but Arteta, you're a smart man. You saw last year. He did it for half a year. I'm not even being disrespectful to Kai. That's literally what happened. That great run, that way he stood up to be counted towards the end of the season. I'm not being funny. Beyond the obvious, you was at City. You know what's required. You said, and again, I'm not trying to catch man out. Mikel Arteta has said, and if you care enough, open up another tab on your laptop or whatever and just type in Mikel Arteta. We need to be a team that gets 100 goals. You looking at the firepower now? Where's the 100 goals? You can tell me 91 goals, and I hear that, but we're talking for people that understand football. When you actually break this effing thing down, Saka's the only one really and truly in August. He's doing what he's doing. The others, I'm not dissing it. You're going to go through great patches, purple patches. We're going to, across the season, there's going to be those 3-0s, 4-0s, 5-1s, all those crazy things. Man are going to pattern up their GA. Saka's the only one. And then to be fair, you've got Kai Havertz pulling his weight, which again, nothing to do with Kai. But again, it goes back to, if you want to be a team that wins the league, him leading the line is crazy. You can hang your hat on that. On who? Calafiori? Yeah. Netflix settings. It is. I hate to agree with my man, but yeah. Zubermendi thing is hilarious, man. That's great. Sign that in the summer. I'm on that, but now, bro. Yeah, a lot of people didn't expect anything, but the fans still had the thought in the back of their minds that surely we do something. That's why people are reacting this way. It is a bit of a killjoy after the City game as well. That win yesterday guaranteed no new signings. Just came back from work. Did we really do ish? Yeah, but we ain't signed no one. Smash the like button. Would you rather spend big in Jan and hope for the best, or get what you want realistically in the summer? But what is what you want realistically? Because there's no guarantee you're going to get Sesko. Even though I think you've got a good chance and you've been laying the groundwork, this is life. You know how much teams probably agree, dot I's, cross T's, taking a player and his agent out for dinner, done all of that stuff. And my man saying, yeah, I'm going to sign. The next day, he's gone somewhere else. So there's still no guarantee. Because there's no guarantee Nico Williams is going to pick you over everybody. He can, but it's not like we're Real Madrid. He could for whatever reason. He might not want to play in the Prem. He might want to play in the Prem. There's no guarantee you're getting Nico Williams. There's no guarantee you're getting Sesko. And who else? There's still no guarantee you're getting Zubimendi. As again, you're doing the legwork. But these guys, pretty girls are always going to have a lot of interested guys and eyes. It's down to you to be the waviest, and you can't always be the waviest. So there's no guarantee. And again, I'm not asking us to spend big. But I do look at us. If you are talking about Cunha and Watkins, you know what comes with buying in the Premier League. Not everyone's going to be a little Jorginho and Trossard deal. Both of those players had one foot out the door at their clubs anyways. Trossard was fighting De Zerbi. Jorginho, it was made clear by Chelsea, you're cutting. Slightly the same with Havertz in the summer. Declan Rice was a player that West Ham clearly didn't want to sell. That's one we did do our groundwork. There's no guarantee. I'm not asking us to spend big. I'm just get a body, bro. Just get a body. At least if you brought the Norwegian kid, there's a little optimism. Heading home early from the night shift, listening as I drive DG. Appreciate you, David, man. You're part of the furniture, man. Excuses FC for whose window and all the PR about the summer and the right player been here before. Brother, let me tell you, I used to follow the actions of this club. Now, at days I just shrug and say it's whatever. That's my fault. Like, love the football club. At the end of the day, I'm going to be here, but it's the hope that kills. It's expectation, which leads to disappointment. And unfortunately, there's enough to be optimistic about. And then it's like, you're on a high, you're mellowed out. You're on a high, you're mellowed out. You crumble and crumble and crumble and crumble and crumble and crumble and crumble. You accept that we've crumbled. Crazy run towards the end of the season. Season's done. We accept where we crumble. Summer, war chest, back again. And now, we get we'll terrorize our top 6 supporting friends, but I like where we are. I don't like where we are as a club. I like the evident positives there are around the club, but brother, get over the line now, man. Or I need to see that it means more to everybody. Like you're actually actively trying, because I think you lot would like to win a league title. And this goes for the top down, like emphasis on the top. I think you'd like to win a league title. If you was, I don't know, watching the LA Rams and them billion dollar dinners, and you got a text saying Arsenal won the Premier League, I think it'd be like, great. You get all these people to fly to the Emirates and take wavy pictures and whatnot. I don't think you're dying to win it. I don't think it keeps people up. I think it keeps Arteta and the players up at night. But then there's other questions to answer them. I don't think it keeps my man up at night. To be fair, Jason I don't even want to get at you, because man can mock you and say you're an intern and things like that. End of the day, bro, like you shouldn't be in this situation anyways. You shouldn't. And I know he might not have the credentials, but maybe I'm naive for thinking like this. A lot of clubs, especially us, we talk about future planning. Of course, we for next season, we're thinking about 2025, 26, right? But there's an element of 2026, 27. So it's like, where is that? Right? Where is that proactiveness? Marino was not needed, and this is why I feel less sympathy. Arteta, he really pushed for the signing, and the managers has to make mistakes, man. Everyone makes mistakes, but we're not trying to rectify them. And for me, there's mistakes, and then there's just lessons you're not learning, man. Like, I don't know if kids nowadays get beats, but I was a very hard of hearing kid. Like, my mom was quite patient. Like, say things multiple times. I'm not listening multiple times. At some point, you're gonna get a slap. Like, they didn't want to spend money, cool, but loans were possible at least. Could have bought Neto on a cheap 1-year contract and got Ferguson. Koulibaly was a decent option. It is what it is, man. We saw enough Eddie dead food. I think there is rumours in Zubimendi. Our owners are just turning into the Glazers. MLS sure scored, but you guys already forgot Calafiori saved. Well, it's a squad game, man. If there's one area I'm all right, and I still think we need a defender, and there's obviously players that could move on and players that need to stay fit, but whether it's Calafiori, Timber, Benjamin White when fit, all the battles you could have in the partnerships at fullback, I'm cool with that. I love the centre halves, right? You're doing what you need to do. Rice, you're in good form. But this is another year we still haven't had a partner for you, really, really and truly, or a long-term partner. There's question marks in midfield. There's question marks in terms of depth. And then it's the attacking three. At the end of the day, goals win games, Goals win games. You're not so deluded after all. I wish I had a pound for every time I heard that, man. Keep this momentum, Arsenal fans. Chase Liverpool and win the league. Don't let Liverpool win it. Need David. You know what? Yeah, I mean, it would be the most romantic. Like again, like, and that's the wickedest thing. Like it would be the most romantic thing in that somehow we come back from behind on Wednesday. David Moyes does us a favour. We beat Liverpool at Anfield and we win at St Mary's, 2 grounds we struggle at. We somehow win this title with the injuries and the illness and the injustice with the red cards and the Lewis-Skelly doing the rant, doing that. Is it a colour thing? Word to Sol Campbell. It'll be romantic, innit? It'll be lovely. Like, I want the Champions League, but that's a want. Like, I got not like it's not gonna happen, is it? At this point, this is bigger than Arteta. Not getting a player is on the board and the owners, which is true. And even that, yeah. If Arteta, I genuinely think if again the trajectory might have changed and you can get more attractive players, and to a degree, I don't necessarily agree with this, but I think if we won the league last year, I think Arteta and the players would want to go again. I don't think the owners would. Yeah, cool, you won the league. I just think we'd almost have the same old summer we had. Now, of course, you could flip that and say Sesko would say, "Oh my God, you know what? I know I'm not going to play ahead of Kai Havertz, but them man won the league. Nico Williams, I don't want to go Barca. They won the league. I got a couple Spanish dons over there. I don't know." The craziest thing is that according to Ornstein, Villa were ready to take 60 for Watkins and we effed about off in 40. Skelly is a better 8 than Marino, let's be honest. If Arsenal can beat City, they can beat Liverpool. Listen, on a shootout, I'm a lot more confident as I've ever been as an Arsenal fan against the top 6. The problem is the other games because Liverpool have shown me, on occasion we've shown it, but not to their levels. Liverpool shown me they can win multiple ways. And, you know, I'm sure Liverpool fans will find fault with how they're playing and they've, you know, not blitzed every team, but they're better than everyone else. That's for one. They've shown what I mean by they can win every way is that obviously on song, everybody doing what they're doing. Salah, Trent, they're smoking teams. They've also shown me that when it's them even kind of games, maybe a couple man can come off the bench and nick it, like against Brentford. They've also shown me you can win when you're just shit, which I'm sure Arsenal and the players, they won't be happy with their performance against Bournemouth. You know, all the highlights of what Bournemouth are doing. End of the day, who got the 3 points? And in the title race, that's all that matters. So you need them to F up. And then, as we've seen on the rare occasions Liverpool have effed up, we've also effed up. We effed up against them. You know, we didn't know whether to stick or twist, whether to go for a goal or not. Obviously, we played with fire. Trent, Núñez, and Salah. So, yeah, man, we'll have to see, man. Like, we'll have to see. For me, I'm very accepting in a sense of clearly, I mean, I spent the best part of 52 minutes. You look, by now, could see where my headspace is at. But that's parked off on one side. On the other side is where it is now. Am I necessarily confident with all the tools we have available? No, but it is where it is. Like, can't cry about it. Either way, we still got to play these games, still got to do what we're doing. If every academy grad has to be Ethan or lewis-skelly to touch grass, then we'll never get fair money from our academy. We'll get Ethan and Sundry once in a while is all. Can't sell them. Calafiori's a baller. The way MLS is playing, though, I'd have him left wing and Calafiori left back play them both. You know what? Our attackers, but it might have to be a thing. Louder Rashford talks, man. I'd rather play the Henry statue outside. Both will have the same work rate. And what I would say, Rashford, I hope it works out for you at Aston Villa. But Aston Villa, Birmingham, for that matter of fact, you need to behave yourself off the field. No signings, man. Appreciate you, AJ, but there's no signings, man. Make sure you're hitting the likes. There's only today. We don't know what is going to happen tomorrow. We needed players yesterday and Arsenal failed. That's on the board and the owners. There you have it. Trust DG. Kai's decent, but I'm struggling. The last time Kai scored a brace. Like, and this is where, for me, I can't, like, obviously, Kai Havertz, your professional football, innit? Like, regardless of if you're a striker or whatever, defenders are doing their thing. Like, it's become a frequent thing. But at what point, yeah, do you continue being mad or, in a nice way, accept a man for what he is? Like, we know Kai Havertz is good and bad. We know he's not clinical. We're seeing it week in, week out. He hasn't put himself in this situation. He's never going to be clinical. I can't get vexed at it anymore. New solution. If I keep doing the same thing, it's not going to change unless I try something else. If nothing changes, nothing changes. They have to be the right profile and the right price. Window Shopper FC. Bring back Aubameyang, one last dance. Boy, yo, fam. Henry could dust off his boots, man. We complain when Havertz is dropped in midfield, then we complain we got Moreno. I didn't complain. What's Arteta's contract saying? I feel like he might resign if we don't win anything this season. I do think Arteta will get job offers elsewhere, but I don't think I don't know, but you've done a lot, and sometimes when you've put a lot into this, you're going to be attracted to it, and also you're one of the highest paid earners in the Prem. As long as you get top four and you keep doing what you're doing, at a minimum, whether you're happy with it or not, you're passing the KPIs that the owners want. The owners are cool. The owners clearly bought this club because they're self-sufficient. Wenger was the guy long term. He's the guy. He's left now. The Emre thing didn't happen. Couple other things above him didn't happen. Mikel Arteta is not in the same sentence as Arsene Wenger, but in terms of being a custodian and your shield, as someone said, they've got a next one very quickly. Who's younger? Who might move on? But you get where I'm going. The fan base is united. The merch is getting bought. NPCs are becoming celebs now. The cult guy, big him up. He's doing lit things. Haylanders is great. Little 5-1 victory. And for the majority of Airhead football fans, we were the worst thing in the world all going into the week. Now we love these boys. The cycle continues, man. It's just our mind games. 1 to 2 injuries and we're dusted. Hopefully that's not the thing, man. Love this team so much, and they work so hard. This board's gonna age these guys like crazy. Even Spurs signed a player. How does your 9 bang his ACL and the sporting director doesn't flinch? Who is the sporting director? Who is that? But did your mum slap you up as much as we did City? Yeah, I don't like what that, to be fair, worse. We're hella worse. Hella worse. Hella worse. To be fair, I hear it from Nepal. Like, obviously, you can look at it and say, who's this kid that's playing in the Norwegian league, turning down all these Prem and European sides? But at the end of the day, I see that as carefully managing your development. Him and his parents, they got a feel for the club. They got toured. They got nice. They saw where everything is. And then I guess you have to ask the player in your heart, do you feel it's right? Or do you keep staying stability? And you probably move in the summer. Big up, man, wear black. Big up, DJ in the chat. Hit the like button, folks. I mean, look at the team. The core is there. I think they can push with youth chipping if some injuries happen. Don't know, but I have this gut feeling that we're about to surprise everyone this year. I hope so. Listen, it would be one for the ages. It would be a great all or nothing documentary. I hope so. But for me, I don't like to. You have to have some level of optimism. But for me, there's too many things externally, let alone Arsenal. Too many things externally have to fall into place. And when is life like that? Even people could sit here and say the managers crap, the players are this and the third, and we haven't won anything. But where we used to be and where we are now, clearly we've patterned up. I imagine there's been bumps and bruises, and it wasn't linear path anyways. So it feels like it got to. Well, I can't say it's all for nothing, but yeah. Whoever says I'm not even repeating that blasphemy, man. Most important thing now is getting a director of football. Arteta's inability to get over targets is harming us. I'm not doing another summer of chasing Isaac and Nico who don't want us jarring. You know what? It's going to happen, bro. And yeah, we need a sporting director. And even that, at the beginning of, end of December going into January, these outlets, they were saying, they're concerned with Jason Ito and his inexperience. If you deep it, first week or so in January, they were saying that he's growing in confidence. And the saddest thing is, I'd love to be on a fly on the wall, because it's one thing us knowing we bidded for Ollie Watkins and these things. Like, just because we're a football club, there is agents filtering offers to us. There's us giving indirect calls to clubs and seeing if players are available. I would love to know that stuff, the stuff that you were scheming on that didn't bang. Then I might look at it differently. But we're naive fans. All we can do is, we're just football fans that better yet. All we can do is, provide different different perspectives and how things are happening. At the end of the day, we don't know. We don't know. So we can only judge the results. Hope and pray for a trophy. If not, best moment will be MLS doing the Haaland celebration. We need to push. We need to start the PR for Lewis-Skelly PFA Young Player of the Year, man. We need to push that. I swear, if we just brought in a couple of signings, we could have increased our chances of winning the champs. Unfortunately, those that make the decisions above Mikel Arteta, we're not a football club first. I don't think we're a football club first. Like, it's a business. Imagine we was as consistent with trying to get to where we want to get to as much as the merch. And I genuinely believe, for the Cronkies, from the summer of 2022-23 and what we found and where we are now, I genuinely believe they didn't expect to be here. I thought at best they would hope for a top 4 challenge. And what I mean by that is, clearly this ain't really been a title race, but we're better in the we didn't get embarrassed in the Champions League. There's been a title race, great top 6 record, best team in 2024, all of that kind of jazz. I don't think they felt we'd be in this realm already. I don't. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. as you know, people, I would say tomorrow, but later today, it's 1:30 a.m. in the United Kingdom. Smash the like button. I'll be back later today. I'm trying to see if I can get some Arsenal content creators in some capacity to collab with you lot. And I'm sure there'll be some other Arsenal talking points. With Matoma, they're rejecting 100 odd million quid for him, or 90 odd million quid from Dubai, man. It's too little too late. Even the Aderinga guy's gone Sunderland. I don't really buy the hype that much, but couldn't have tried for him on loan. And like someone said, get Neto permanently on a cheeky 1-year deal. So yeah, I'll see you lot later today, people. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new here. Smash the like button. And all I can say is it is what it is, man. You lot take care. Stay blessed.
You always just